Hello guys, this session is about fabric preparation, and traditionally all the tailors, they will pre-shrink their canvases. What I'm saying about pre-shrink, so they will wet the canvases in the hot water and then take it out, they leave them to dry, then iron them as well. So that way the canvas will be, pre-shrinks the canvas. And with the wool, they will do with top fabric. They will do similar things. They will may not wet completely all the wool, but they will still try to use certain methods to pre-shrink it in a way it's to stabilize your wool, stabilize the fabric. These days, I don't do that because ways manufacturers manufacture the fabric, produce the fabric, they're already pre-shrinking. The process of that, they use a lots of heat, a lots of water, and the fabric has already been pre-shrunk. And so it's just enough just to give a good iron to the fabric, so you don't need to wet, otherwise it just loses the shape. So when you are treating your wool, when you iron your wool, make sure you iron it on the wrong side for start. So you don't ever iron on the right side of your fabric. But before you do any ironing on your top fabric, just cut a little bit of piece. That's why I always advise you to get extra fabric, extra now 20-25 centimeters, just to experiment on your top fabric. So you get a little bit of the fabric, so you can iron it, see how it behaves. If it shrinks, how much it shrinks, and that's it. So is it you iron hot? Is it too hot? Is it not hot enough? Because you can be too careful and would not iron it at all. So that's very important that you actually check the temperature on your iron, and also use the steam. Sometimes by using the steam, it creates a lots of patchy lines around your fabric, so patchy spots from the steam, so because of how you're using it as well. So it's sometimes steam is not hot enough, and it just creates a little like wet dots around your fabric, and then when it dries, it became like spot. So that's why you have to be very careful. So maybe you're not allowed to use actually a steam from the iron, and you need to have just a wet cloth to cover your fabric and iron it that way. So that type of things is very important to know about your fabric, to study your fabric, top fabric, before you actually do any work on the fabric. So it will actually gives you lots of information about the fabric. So when you iron your fabric completely, no matter what, you make sure is no creases on the fabric before you cut your fabric and put any of your patterns and then cut it. So it's very important, nice, iron fabric. I usually iron my fabric the night before, so I can leave my fabric to have a rest, which is means it cools down, so it's not so hot, cools down, but also if it's any steam, if it's any damp still in the fabric, it dries completely and it would not change any shape. So, and I leave it overnight to dry. The same with the canvases. With the canvases, again, I don't put them in the water, I don't do deep pre-shrinking, but I do use a lot of steam. So I have an iron with a steam, I use that, or you can sprinkle the water on top of your canvas a little bit, and then use a lot of that, increase the heat as well, because the fabric, it's fine to canvases to use slightly hotter and that, but again, experiment, see how it goes, and then iron your canvases properly, make sure everything is ironed. Leave it to rest. Iron absolutely everything, including breast fold or chest fold, any of cotton wadding, bamboo wadding. I iron everything before I use it. Check with the temperature, because different fabric will require different temperature of your iron. So you need to experiment before you do. With the linen, you exactly the same. I just iron my linen and canvases, color canvas, just iron it with normal heat, check again, you know, sometimes could be too hot as well. With a lining, you have to be very careful. If your lining is contains some kind of like poly cotton stuff, then it could burn. So you need to check the heat of the iron, because you may have to reduce the heat. But again, lining everything I pre-ironed as well, and then hang it on there somewhere. If I'm not using it straight away, I usually just hang it on the hanger, and I use those hangers which is for the with the clips, and you know, you like for the trousers I use for the clips, and I clip it them and they just hang straight somewhere, and that way, you know, I know my fabric is not going to be creased and it's not in the way and creating even more creases. So yeah, so that's you know, very, very careful, need to do that. Iron everything, pre-iron, make sure it's all great. I don't use any stay flex in this. If you got any stay flex in this tailoring, then don't iron stay flex. That's one thing I would not recommend a stay flex at all, is because it's got the little glues in there, so I would not recommend to do that. Yeah, so if your stay flex need to be iron it, what I actually do, if it's too creased, I actually wet it and then roll it like a roll cake, or with the towel. So lay out very nicely on a towel and then roll it and leave it to dry, and that way it just dries very nicely. Or take it outside and put on the hanger and it dries as well. So, and that's releases all the creases. But otherwise, you know, that's the one fabric I don't iron. It's the with the glues. All right then, I hope this was helpful to you, and I see you later, and bye.